Hello, good evening, every one of you. Hello.
Hello, good evening, madam.
Good evening,
Good
dear.
evening.
I'm audible, right?
Yes, ma'am, we can hear you.
Yes. Okay. Sashikala Hettiarachi from overseas, right?
Yes, miss.
Yeah. Okay. Um. Right. Okay. Now, did I ask you to come prepared for 1 minute talk or something like yesterday? No, no.
Yesterday you gave us a chance to introduce ourselves. I think three of our members introduce ourselves, if I'm
That is
correct.
it. That is what
Yeah.
happened. Okay. And I can actually get one or two of you that you couldn't introduce yourselves yesterday, and then you can introduce yourselves today until others join quickly. Any one of you? I can see one Kumudu. I can see one Yoganathan, Yoganadi, Yogananandi. Can you?
Hello, madam.
Yes, dear.
I am Kumudu from
Mm-hmm.
Anuradhapura.
Mm-hmm.
I am a trained teacher.
Where did you get your training?
Unamaturan Training College, Teacher Training
Ornamental
College.
Teacher Training
Yes,
College. You're a government school teacher.
yes, madam.
Very good. So I see one M. Yoganadi. She is not uh, talking to us. And then who else is this one? Chance M. Sri. I can see one M. Sri. Are you there? Okay. Right. We will start our discussion. Yesterday I discussed, in the first session, I discussed what is psychology, right? The APA definition and the three key words. And then we looked at the history or the evolution of psychology. And then we looked at the four main schools of thoughts. If I ask you what are the four major schools of thoughts we discussed? If I ask you, what are, yeah?
Psychoanalysis,
Mm-hmm.
behavioristics,
Mm-hmm.
humanistics, and cognitive.
Very good, Sashikala. And then we discuss branches of psychology. Educational psychology is one branch of the broad subject psychology. And we could not define educational psychology. This is where that we are going to start today. We will first start with defining educational psychology. And then we'll straight away, we will go to our topic 2, the big topic 2, that is developmental psychology. Okay. First, we will actually discuss what educational psychology is. Uh, Educational psychology, you can define it as the combination of education and psychology, right? So, you know what psychology is all about. It is the scientific study of a mind through the observable behavior. Then, what is education? According to psychologists, education is lead out or bring out. Okay, lead out or bring out. That means you are lead to insight, knowledge from ignorance. You do not know, but education will make you aware of it. Educere is the word, Greek word, Greek and Latin combination, right? Educere, that is the word that this education, the English term is derived from. And it means lead out. From where to where? That is from ignorance to enlightenment. That is, you first do not know, and then because of education that you come to know it. So that is education. So in simple terms, in learning and teaching, right, in this system, um, teachers, administrators, educators, policymakers, students, parents, they all meet, they all face issues in education process, right? Different issues. And these concerns of education, the learning teaching process, they are actually sieved through psychological concepts and theories and beliefs. That is actually what is meant by educational psychology. So let me share my PowerPoint for you, and there you can read the explanation given to um, educational psychology by me. I'm opening it for you. So you all are into educational psychology. You all are teachers. So what are the concerns, problems, issues of education? You can actually see them through psychological lens, applying theories of psychology, concepts and beliefs of psychology. So teachers, of course, especially now you all are teachers, the teachers have to definitely look at educational concerns through the lens of psychology. Students' problems, your own teaching concerns, parents, right? They have their own issues. They will actually create problems for you. They will have lots of misunderstanding, then administration. They all have to actually see these educational problems through the lens of psychology. That is educational psychology. And I'm going to get you to have a look at what is educational psychology now. Here, the slide. Can you all see the slide?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So then one of you can read what is education. Then after that, another student can read what is educational psychology. That is what I explain you. So why can't we read it and see whether you can actually understand what is given there? So can one of you read what is education?
Ma'am, may I?
Yes, please go ahead.
Yes. What is education? In order to know the educational psychology, we have to first understand what is education. The word education is derived from Latin word educare, which means to bring up. Education is also derived from another Latin word, educere, which means to lead out. Education as educere is more acceptable as mean leading an individual from ignorance to knowledge. Education can be defined as the process of imparting or acquiring knowledge as habit through instruction or study. If education is to be effective, it should be results in change in all the behavior components.
Component. So, that is education. So, it is derived from educere, educare, the Latin terms, which means lead out or bring up. And then, what happens in education is individuals, your students, actually are taken from ignorance to enlightenment, right? Then, what is nice reading by Sashikala. So, then who is going to read the next box, educational psychology?
Can I, madam?
Yes, please. This is
Vijayanti.
Vijayanti. Okay, Vijayanti.
Yes. What is educational psychology? Educational psychology is a combination of overlapping of two separate fields of study, psychology and education. It is a distinct discipline with its own theories, structures, methods, problems, and techniques. Thus, educational psychology can be defined as the study of application of psychology and psychological methods to the study of development, learning, motivation, instruction, assessment, and related issues that influence the interaction of teaching and learning in educational psychology. It's a discipline concerned with teaching and learning process, applies the method and theories of psychology and has its own as well.
Right, okay, Vijayanti. Very good. Thank you for reading it nicely to the class. Okay. So then Sashikala and Vijayanti read the two for the rest of the class. So in educational psychology, what happened? It's a combination of education and psychology. So the concerns of education, that is how to motivate your students to um, learn, and how to make your teaching effective, easy to grasp by your learners, how to improve their memory, how to develop their personality, because ultimate goal of education is development of a balanced personality. So all these concerns of education is sieved through the psychological lens by applying psychological theories. Then that is the scope of educational psychology. So your subject is educational psychology. For you are into education, you all are teachers, educators, you are into education. So your branch of psychology is educational psychology, the combination of psychology and education. If not, educational matters are sieved through psychology, right, for better and effective results. That is it. And then scope of educational psychology or uses of educational psychology. Scope or uses of educational psychology. So I will not discuss this topic right now. Take this into your head. I will not discuss the scope or uses of educational psychology right now. But once we complete the module, right, we have different topics, and these different topics are actually the subject matter of educational psychology. Just to mention now, our second topic, big topic, is developmental psychology. That is child development, different aspects of development, cognitive development, social emotional development, moral development, etc. So the education facilitates the development of the child. So if you know educational psychology, you actually know how to actually facilitate the development of the child. Varied aspects of the child should be developed through education, and what psychology has said about it. And you're going to apply them in the classroom as you know educational psychology. If you take the third unit that we have, that is cognition. Cognition is internal mental capacities of the individual. A sensation, perception, attention, memory, forgetting, problem solving, etc. So when it comes to education, these are very important um, when it comes to education. So you will come to know how sensation happen, how perception happens, how to actually get the attention, how to commit knowledge into memory, like that. So once we complete the module, the topics we have, the theories we discuss, and that can be discussed as the scope of educational psychology. So the last day, the last thing to discuss would be scope of educational psychology. I don't have to discuss. Once I actually complete the rest of the content, that you come to know scope of educational psychology. Is it clear what I'm telling you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
madam.
Yes, very good. So we will be discussing this part, last day, last topic, as the last day, last topic. So we will now move on to our big topic 2, if not unit 2. So the first unit is done. What is introduction to psychology? What is psychology? evolution of psychology, major schools of thoughts in psychology, what is educational psychology, and scope of educational psychology is actually not discussed right now. It is the last day. So we go to unit 2 or the big topic 2 now. Are you ready?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Yeah, that is a bit of a lengthy uh, 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 unit or a big topic, right? Developmental psychology. Now you can have pen and paper, as I told you yesterday. Have pen and paper with you. Just take down here and there keywords and the subtopics and all that. Some words that you actually think that you have to actually read again about it. And there you can actually make notes. Then you will not be distracted and idling, right? You will be time to time, you will be back in the lesson, okay? Then this unit 2 or the big topic 2 is developmental psychology. Now, before coming to developmental psychology, I'm sharing my PowerPoint and you can see there's a symbol. Can you see the symbol on the slide?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes,
Now,
ma'am.
look at the symbol and tell me what does it tell you? Actually speaking, that symbol is the symbol of psychology, right? That is a symbol of psychology. Uh, so what does it tell you about symbol of educational psychology? So looking at this symbol, what does it kind of, what meaning is conveyed to you? Just have a kind of an educated guess there. What meaning is conveyed to you?
It means like everything have to be balanced.
Everything has to be balanced. Actually speaking, there's some truth in what you said. It's balancing. So, what is the purpose of educational psychology? Ultimate goal of psychology is what? No, sorry, ultimate goal of education is what? Development of a balanced personality. Am I right?
Yes, madam.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that is the ultimate goal of education. A balanced personality, right? Development of a balanced personality in the individual. So here you can see that is done through the application of, that can be easily done through the application of educational psychology, right? So educational psychology is contribution towards this is immense. If you do not have psychological understanding, you will never be able to actually do that also as teachers. That is why this subject is such an important subject, Wendy. Okay? If you do not know your educational psychology and if you do not want to apply them in your educational matters in the teaching, learning, classroom management, and all that, even testing, assessing, right, lecturing, delivering, if you don't want to actually apply them, you will never be able to actually reach that goal of education, development of balanced personality in the individual, Kanaka. Okay? Right. So, our big topic 2, developmental psychology. And in psychology, educational psychology, lifespan development or LSD is a very well known a common term. LSD. LSD refers to lifespan development. Now you know ultimate goal of education is the development of the child, right? Goal of education is the development of the child. So we are going to discuss in developmental psychology some theories and concepts related to the development of the child. Okay, that is our unit 2, because education develops the child, right? And if education is to develop the child, under developmental psychology, we discuss some concepts, theories, um, beliefs about development of the child through developmental psychology. LSD stands for lifespan development. Okay, that is our today's topic, and I think we will not be able to finish it today itself because it's a lengthy unit. Okay, This is the lengthiest out of all the units that we have. So here, this is what we are going to discuss in this unit. I will first get you to define lifespan development or LSD. Then we will actually, in a very brief manner, compare growth and development. Then we discuss aspects of development of the whole child. Then we discuss factors that affect child's growth and development. And then we have 5 theories. There are several other theories, so many, but we are discussing 5 theories of development, 5 theories of child development. We will discuss Piaget, Freud, Erik Erikson, Kohlberg, and Bronfenbrenner. All the 5 theories are discussed. So I think that we need at least 4 hours to complete the unit 2 today and tomorrow, right? Very important unit. Okay, now I ask you this. Now, what is the unit 2? What is the topic of unit 2?
Developmental psychology.
Done, right. Then what are the subtopics? You see them on the screen, right? So we will first look at define lifespan development. LSD, right? I get you to this, right? If you want to define lifespan development, okay, lifespan development, you need to have several keywords in that definition. First keyword is the lifespan. From when to when is our lifespan? I'm asking you. From when to when is our lifespan?
Birth to death.
Today.
Yeah, that is it, right? We think it is from birth to death. But in psychology, it is not from birth to death. Instead, it is from conception to death. Conception means inside the mother's womb, the union of the sperm and the what?
Oval.
The mother's this thing. Father has the sperm, that yes. So then they actually are united, and then there begins one cell, and that is the conception. Okay, so it happens inside the mother's womb, and inside the mother's womb during the gestation period, that is 40 weeks, from one cell, the child or the infant after 40 weeks is a fully functioning body, right? So that is a big development inside the mother's womb. Am I right?
Yes.
So that also counted in psychological definition of lifespan. It's not from birth to death. It is from conception to death. The sperm and the ovum, they are united and start beginning life as one cell. And in the gestation period of 40 weeks inside the mother's womb, the child develops into a kind of a functioning individual, right? So that period is also very important stage of development. So because of that, you have to use the word lifespan from conception to death. Okay? Lifespan from conception to death is one key word in the definition of lifespan development. Then we come to the second one, different aspects of development. It's not only physical development, cognitive development, that is intelligence, social development, that is one's ability to work with others, be happy with others and all that, intellectual, perceptual, personality and emotional growth. So all the aspects, physical, cognitive, social and emotional, right? Physical, cognitive, social, and emotional development of the child. We call them various aspects of the development. And there should be another keyword. It happens in different stages, significant stages. What are these significant stages that development happens? First one is the prenatal. Prenatal, before birth, inside the mother's womb, the 40 weeks of gestation. Prenatal, before birth. And then postnatal. Postnatal, after birth. When it comes to postnatal also, birth up to 2 years is infancy. Birth up to 2 years is infancy. 2 to 11 years is childhood. 2 to 11 years is childhood. 11 to 18 years is adolescence or teenage, right? Then 18 to 40 is youth, young adults. Then 40 to 65 is middle age. And then 65 plus is actually old age. So these are very significant stages of development. Prenatal, postnatal, postnatal further into infancy, childhood, adolescence, young adulthood, and middle adulthood and late adulthood, right? So they are the stages. So this lifespan development happens in significant stages such as prenatal, postnatal, and all that. And they are actually the change that happens, right? Different changes. So lifespan development has keywords. They are the scientific study of the changes that happens during the lifespan of the individual from conception to death in varied aspects of development, namely physical, emotional, and social, in different stages, namely prenatal, postnatal, postnatal into infancy, childhood, teenage, young adulthood, middle adulthood, and late adulthood. If you have these keywords in the definition, it's an accepted definition of lifespan development. Is it clear what I told you about lifespan development, the first subtopic of developmental psychology?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Can I get one of you to read what is there on the slide, please?
Development psychology is focused on human growth and challenges across the lifespan from conception to death, including physical, cognitive, social, intellectual, perceptual, personality, and emotional growth. Development psychology is the scientific study of how and why human beings change over the course of their lifespan. This field examines change across three major
Dimensions.
dimensions: physical development, cognitive development, and socio-emotional.
Emotional development. That is very good reading by a friend
I'm
Rashini.
Mahishi, madam.
Mahishi. Okay, Mahishi, where are you from?
I'm from Kottava, madam.
Kottava, Colombo.
Yes, madam.
Where do you teach?
I teach in Horizon International.
Wow, long time back. I worked for Horizon Campus. Long time back, there it was 2015 to 2018.
Mm.
Right, okay. So Horizon International School is very good, no?
Yeah, madam.
Teachers are also paid well, Kil, I heard, compared to other schools.
Yes, comparative. Yes, madam.
I don't want to ask you. They are very sensitive. It is said, no, you should never ask the age of
And
a
the
woman. Eh? Salary
age
of a
and
man,
salary.
right? Yes. But now, of course, it doesn't matter whether it's man or woman. Age and salary income is very sensitive, right? Okay. Now, we actually discuss the first subtopic of developmental psychology, that is defining lifespan development, keywords, scientific study of the change, lifespan from conception to death, different aspects, basically the three dimensions, physical, cognitive, and socio-emotional, and then at different stages like prenatal, postnatal into infancy, childhood, adolescence, young adulthood, middle adulthood, and late adulthood. Okay, got it, right? And then we go to the second subtopic of developmental psychology, distinguish between growth and development. Distinguish between growth and development. Okay, so I get you to look at this. Distinguish between growth and development. As teachers, you should know what's the difference between growth and development, right? Education facilitates not only the growth, but the development of the child. Not the growth, but the development. So what is this difference? Now, even if you take the country, right? Economic growth and development, they are not the same, right? Economic growth is Miller. You have money, right? You are doing well with regard to economy. But development actually is going beyond economic growth. If you look at the countries, right? Just because the country has money, if they do not give them good education, the best of education, if their medical field is not developed, if people are unhappy, if the death rate is high, if corruption is high, right, then it's not a developed country according to the criteria. Now, sometimes back, right, when these Middle East countries, right, they found oil and they became rich overnight. But it was not considered as a developed country then. Now, most of the Middle East countries are developed countries, okay? People go and work there in Dubai, Abu Dhabi, and all that. Our friends are also there. But those days, when they actually found these oil wells, and then all of overnight, when they became rich, they were economic growth was there, but they were not considered as developed countries. Why? People were not educated. There were no medical facilities, right? There was like that. So development is going beyond growth. If you apply it to the individual human beings also, growth is limited to physical growth. Growth is limited to physical growth. Yeah, you increase your size and length, you grow tall and fat, and you become big in your body. That is growth. But development is not only physical, it is overall physical, cognitive, socio and emotional development of the individual should be facilitated through education, not only their cognitive development, not only their physical development. Okay? So when it comes to growth, you can actually measure growth quantitatively. You are 5 feet tall. You are 80 kilos in weight. More, right? And then, like that, you can actually measure growth in numbers. That means quantitatively. But development, you can't measure development using numbers. You have to measure development qualitatively. Qualitatively. So you have to describe, right? You have to describe it in words. You can't use numbers and say 50%, 20%, 30 out of 40 like that. Instead, you have to explain it. right? When it comes to social development of the child. Last year, the child was not very cooperative in doing group work and pair work. The child used to fight a lot with other students and never was ready to actually accept others' views. But this year, the child shows remarkable improvement in his um, social aspect of development. He now actually is ready to work with others and enjoys working with others. Like that, you have to explain it, describe it in words. But growth, of course, it's physical. You can say 5 feet 2 inches, like that. So you have to understand from this, education is not only just for the growth of the child, to get him to grow taller and fatter and all that. Instead, education is to develop the child, that is not only physical but cognitive and socio-economic, socio-emotional functions as well. So growth is quantitatively measured using numbers, but development is qualitatively measured using words, and that you have to describe. Is it okay? Madams, is it
Yes,
okay?
ma'am.
We
Yes,
have two
ma'am.
sirs also, ne? And now only it came to my mind, we have two sirs. Right. Okay. Now we go to the third subtopic. So we define lifespan development. Then we actually compared growth and development and learn that it's not the growth only, but the development of the child should be facilitated. And then 2.3 is aspects of development of the whole child. Aspects of development of the whole child. So look at this. These are the aspects, areas of human development. Areas of human development. Areas of human development. Psychologists have identified changes in 4 main areas of development: physical, social, cognitive, and emotional. Education should facilitate physical development, sports, right? Health, and all that. And cognitive development. Cognitive development is knowledge related development. Education is meant for the cognitive development. You have to get them to be knowledgeable. And social development. Social development is the child's ability to be happy when he has to be with others. Actually speaking, you can't help it. Human being is a social being. Always you have to be with others. So you have to be with others and be happy as well. But all are not actually socially developed to be like that. We think, Ayo, they are not honest, they are not genuine, they are not my type, like that. But you can't say like that. If you are socially developed, you can actually be happy with any one of you. They are actually totally opposite of yours, but still you can be happy. That is, you get them to develop their socially as well. Then emotional development. Now they say more than the IQ, cognitive intelligence. Now what matters is emotional intelligence, the EQ. Emotional intelligence is you're very empathetic. You can get into others' shoes and then can see a problem. You can control your emotions. You can regulate your emotions. You can understand others' emotions. That is actually emotional development. Okay. So education is not only meant for cognitive development and physical development, it incorporates other areas such as emotional, social development of the child as well. So they are the aspects or areas of human development, not only physical, not only cognitive, but social and emotional development also should happen through education given. Is it clear, dear madams and sirs?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Today the two sirs are not there. One Sanat Jaisuri I can remember. The other one is Rizwan. Am I right?
Ifan.
Fine.
Rifan. Both of
Shifan,
them are not
Shifan.
here today.
I'm here.
Shifan. Okay.
Yes.
Monkey Shifan kiyabu kiyala neda. Okay.
Mhm.
Right. We have one Sashikala Nisansala also.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Okay. Now, so far so good. We are in developmental psychology. First subtopic was defining lifespan development, LSD. And then second one, comparing growth and development to know, get you to know that education is not only for the growth, it is to facilitate the development. What kind of development? So we looked at the aspects of development. It's not only physical, it's not only cognitive, even socio-emotional development should be facilitated through education. So they asked this question, what is the point of, right? Having lots of knowledge, but you are actually unable to work with others. So you are not socially and emotionally developed. You have cognitively developed. What is the point? Right? It should be a balanced one. You should develop all the aspects, then only that you will be a useful citizen, and then only the education can be effective. Okay, with that, the next subtopic of the day under developmental psychology, factors affecting the child's development. Factors affecting the child's development. So what is the subtopic we are discussing now? Please.
Factors that affect child's
One's
growth.
development, child's growth and development. Okay. Now let's see. I actually am going to discuss only two factors, but there are other factors also that affects one's development. So as teachers, you should be aware of these. What are the factors that affect child's development? Because as a teacher who is into education system, you are at the delivery point, you have direct contact with the child, and you are actually facilitating the development of the child. So if you are facilitating the development of the child as a teacher, you should know what factors actually influence the child's development. So there are very many factors, several factors that influence child's development. But thinking of the scope of our syllabus, I have actually taken two factors, two major factors that influence the child's development. Now, what are the two major factors that affect child's development that we are going to discuss in this module? First one, take it down. Two major factors that affect child's development. First one, nature versus nature. Nature versus nurture. Nature versus nurture factor. Two are set against each other. We will be discussing them. So the first one we are discussing, the factors that affect child's development is nature versus nurture factor. And there's another important one we are discussing for the teachers. Factors affecting child's development. Another factor is learning versus maturity, if not maturity versus learning. Maturity versus learning. You can see the words on the screen. So our subtopic is factors that affect child's development. There are several factors that affect child's development as teachers that you should know because you are into facilitation of the development of the child. So I have taken two factors that affect child's development into consideration. The first one is nature versus nurture. The other one is maturation versus learning. So we are going to take one by one and discuss. Are you ready?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, madam.
Very good,
Yes.
very good, very
Yes.
good, very good. Okay.
Yes, madam.
Yeah. Then අපි first ගන්නවා nature versus nurture factor. Nature versus nurture factor. It influences the child's development. As a teacher, you should be aware of this. You should be very well aware of this. So what is this nature versus nurture debate of factor as a factors influencing child's development? I will give you some other two terms for this. Nature is heredity. Heredity. Nature is heredity. Heredity. Nurture is environment. Nurture is environment. So nature versus nurture, if not, heredity versus environment affects the child's development. What is nature or heredity? Each and every child that you see in your class is a product of nature and nurture, heredity and environment. So you can't help it. When actually the child is conceived, right? The ovum and the sperm, when they are united from the mother and the father, there are chromosomes in their genes, right? And they combine from the mother and the father, the chromosomes and the genes, they combine. And the child's heredity is determined. The child's nature or heredity is determined. When it comes to this combination of these chromosomes from the mother and the father, billions of combinations are possible. Billions of combinations are possible. That is why if you have two children in the family, they are not the same when it comes to looks, when it comes to talents, when it comes to temperaments, etc. They're different from each other. The same mother, same father, because the combinations are billionfold, right? So even that is nature, what you have in your blood, in your genes. That is nature. So when it comes to your teaching, you have lots of students in the class. Each class may be 50 students, 30 students. In a day that you meet several hundred to 300 students maybe. So their development is influenced by their nature, heredity. So can you change that as a teacher? Can you
No.
change that?
No,
No, no.
no, we can't.
So as a teacher, that is what? As a teacher, you should come to that understanding. You should come to that understanding. You are facilitating the maximum growth, development, but all will not develop into the same extent. They have their own heredity and nature. Accordingly, that they will have their own pace of development, own extent of development. As a teacher, you can't be a very uh, kind of, you know, over ambitious, right? You can't be over ambitious. You have to know you can't get all the 50 students to develop to the same level because their nature, their heredity has a role to play. Even the two twins, right? The two twins, they will not have the same heredity and the nature. So accordingly, they will develop. It's one of the major factors that influence development. So as a teacher, you should understand that. And you can't be over ambitious with regard to the development of the children. So nurture. Nurture, another term for nurture is environment. As I told you on the first day yesterday, environment is everything not within us. Right? In psychology, it's not trees and animals and the sky, but everything not within us is our environment, is our nurture. So the school, the teacher, the textbooks, the culture, the beliefs, neighbors, uh, everything is your environment, right? At home, your own siblings, your father, drunkard father is your environment. So your environment is not good if your father is a drunkard, right? Your mother is very kind, your mother is knowledgeable, your mother is understanding. That is your environment. It is very favorable, right? So this environment also influences one's development. So your children in the class, your teaching style, the school climate, uh, peers, their friends, the textbook, mother's education, all these actually contribute to the development of the child. That is environment. So ultimately, if I ask you, which is the dominant component out of nature and nurture, or heredity and environment? Which is the dominant part? I'm asking you. Which influences one's development more? It's nature or nurture? It's heredity or environment?
Environment.
Environment.
Nurture.
Yeah, nurture.
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 But
Yeah.
it is a debate, Puta. Nature versus nurture debate. There's no clear-cut answer to this. Which is more influencing the development? There's no clear-cut answer. And psychologists, they actually experiment this. This experiment is, it's a actually longitudinal experiment. Longitudinal means over a long period of time, right? And it's a cross-sectional using different samples as well. But they have not come to a clear-cut answer there, which is the dominant part of development. It is nature or nurture. It is still a debate. With some, it is nature. With some, it is nurture. Right? සමහර වෙලාවට තියෙනවා, right? You know, අපි කියන මොනවා කරත් මකන්න බෑ කියලා. ඒ කියන්නේ මොකද්ද? It's in their genes. You can't change them. Right? And sometimes, you know, the same. I saw a film, Yashoda Vimaladharma, if you have heard of her, Sri Lankan actress, a senior one. She actually played a dual role there. It's a film, right? I saw it on TV sometimes back. They are now to a poor rubber estate family, rubber estate workers, to their family, twins were born. And one is adopted by a lawyer family, the other one is adopted by the same poor family. And after 20 years, this child adopted by the lawyer family, she comes to know that she's adopted, and she badly wanted to go and see her parents. And she made a visit. And there in the rubber estate, she sees the twin sister actually working there in the rubber estate. හිරි කපනවා කියන්නේ එහෙම කරනවා. එතකොට then it's actually very moving scene, and one is very posh and all that, you know, speaks English only and all that. But the other one is very haggard and in ragged clothes and even no personality and all that. So you can see the environment or nurture has a big influence. But at the same time, maybe the qualities and whatever, there can be things that cannot be 100% changed as well. Right? Anyway, the lesson for you as the teachers is this. Don't be over ambitious, right? Don't try to be perfectionists as teachers. You have to know the fact, if you have 35 students in the class, their development is influenced by not only by nurture. In the school, the nurture is you, right? Your teaching, the way you talk to them, your understanding, that is their nurture. The school culture, the peers. But their development is influenced not only by the nurture. There's a role to be played by nature, their heredity as well. So they will have their own pace of learning, right? So that understanding is a must for the teacher. That is the lesson given to you by discussing factors affecting, influencing the development of the child, nature versus nurture debate. Got it, or you didn't get that?
Got it, ma'am.
Yeah, normally as you think, what are the actually uh, what are the kind of things that you normally inherit or get in your genes? Normally, what do you get in your genes from your parents? What kind of things that you get? One
Get
is
it small.
physical features. Am I right?
Yeah.
Appearances.
Appearances.
Definitely, yes. Physical features, the shape of the eye, the color of your skin complexion, your hair, whether it's curly or straight or wavy or whatever, right? Whether it's scanty or whether it's very full hair and all that, and your height, um, uh, your voice. Now, if you take me, right? Uh, we have 5 girls in our family, and we all have got my mother's voice. Everybody says that, even on a telephone call or nikang kata kata and whatever, that they can't actually distinguish whether this is me or my sister or my mother killer. It's actually very kind of, actually it's everybody comments, that means it is actually in our genes. Am I right?
Yes,
Yes.
madam.
Yeah, and
Yes.
you
Yeah,
also
ma'am.
can think of what you have got inherited physical features from your parents, Kayla, right? That is one. Physical features. It's not only physical features. We call it temperaments. Temperaments means, now think your mother is a very cool person. Naturally, you're also a cool. It's inherited, Kayla. But it's a debate. Don't know, because you are brought up by your mother. You see the mother every day. It can be environment also. Because mother behaves like this in a cool way, that you also learn it from your mother. Whether it's heredity or environment is a very critical thing. It is very difficult to actually say what it is. But anyway, those things can be inherited. So hot temperedness, very easily inherited. Okay. And then Anitaka tamai talents. Now you can see sometimes on these TV shows, very young girls, only 4 years, 5 years, they come on stage and sing like Lata Mangeshkar, Nanda Malani, and dance like, am I right? Have they learned to dance? Have they learned to sing? No. It comes in their genes. Am I right?
Yes, madam.
Yeah, talents
Yes.
also, something like that. But unfortunately, it's not only talents, it's not only physical features, it's not only good things. Very commonly, normally they get mental disorders as well. If there's some mental disorder in the family, it is easily actually given to the next generation, right? And it's not only mental disorders, even some sicknesses. So the mother has diabetes, some certain type of cancers and all that, they are also actually given to the next generation. Samaharlad, if your mother has a breast cancer, you have to actually test for uh, breast cancer, not all types of cancers, right? Diabetes and all that, pressure, sometimes they are genetically given to you. So this is actually nature. Normally, it's difficult to change, right? But nurture is the environment created. Now, the adopted child by the loyal family, she doesn't speak Sinhala but only English. She's highly educated and she's very posh looking, right? And maybe even the qualities, right? Because she was adopted by a kind parents. Now, actually, the state workers up, then a father is a drunkard and the mother is outspoken and angry all the time, for poverty stricken she is. And then of course, totally different environment. So from the environment also, you actually develop, right? Development is influenced. Development is influenced. So that is the nature versus nurture debate. The understanding that you should have as a teacher is, each and every child has their own pace, has their own ways, because they are a product of their nature and nurture. You actually influence the nurture, but nature cannot be influenced by you. So it's a combination of the two. So because of that, all will not perform or develop to the same extent and the way. Is it clear to you? Yeah, it can be applied
Yes.
to your own children as well, right? Never draw comparisons because it's your own children, the same father, same mother, but billions of combinations are possible, no? Billions of combinations are possible. It all depends on, according to Buddhism, the karma, right? What they have done in previous birth. I'm not a Buddhist, I'm a Catholic. So that's God wish and God's wish and all that. So billions of combinations are possible, so the no two children will be alike, right? And then we'll come to the second factor that we are discussing that influence the child's development. That is maturation versus learning. Maturation versus learning is another factor that influence the child's development. And as teachers, you have to be very mindful about this as well, right? Let's see how. What is maturation? What is learning? Maturation is readiness, physical readiness, and mental readiness. Maturation is physical readiness and mental readiness. I will give you an example, right? As soon as a child is born, can the child talk? Can the child walk? I'm asking you.
No, madam.
No,
No, ma'am.
no. Actually, if as soon as a child is born, if you get the child to walk, what will happen? It he will break its legs. Am I right?
Yes.
Yeah, because of like that. And uh, when it comes to learning also, right? There should be the readiness and the maturity. Then only that they can engage in subsequent learning, right? There should be the readiness or the maturity. If they are not ready, if they are not mature yet to engage in that kind of learning, it will be very disastrous. It will be very traumatizing because as soon as a child is born, if you get it to walk, it is actually disastrous. Similarly, if you get the learner to do something that is before they are ready, it is disastrous. It is traumatizing. That is why it is said that in the playgroup and in the Montessori, you don't have to get the child to hold a pencil and write letters because they are not yet mature and ready for that. Wait until the readiness comes, then it is a joyous and activity for them. But when you actually force things before they are mature, it becomes disastrous and traumatizing for the child. Okay. So Piaget's theory of cognitive development, the first theory that we discussed, actually talks about this readiness. As teachers, you should wait till the readiness comes. Now I give you another example. Now the child is born with a split palate or a tongue. Then the child will not have the readiness. Why? The physical body is not ready for it, right? So then the physical body is to produce uh, sounds, to pronounce words, they need the tongue and the palate. And now the child is born with a deformity. අර ස්පිට් palate එකක් තියෙනවා කියලා කියනවා. එතකොට can you get the child to learn to speak and speak like the others do? Can you get that? No. So you have to have that understanding. Similarly, Piaget says, and the child develops like this cognitively in this age. But it all depends the child's nature as well. Some will take more time, some will take less time. So you have to give them time. When they are ready, they will easily learn. So maturation versus learning means wait till the maturation comes, the readiness comes, then they will actually engage in the subsequent learning. Got it? As teachers, you should understand this. So you will not expect everything the same from all the 50, 100 students in your class. No. They have their own pace. They will actually, when they are mature, they will learn. And you will not force things on the learner. When they are in the primary, you will not get them to think abstractly, logically, and all that, because they are not yet ready for that. So these are discussed in Piaget's theory further. Maturation and readiness, right? You have to know before they are ready. If you force things on them when it comes to learning, it is not joyful, it is not joyous activity for them. Instead, it becomes a very strenuous, difficult, traumatizing experience for them. So don't do that. Wait till the readiness comes, right? So when the readiness comes, we can learn something about it in Piaget's theory of cognitive development. So with that, we come to the end of the subtopic, factors that affect child's development. We discussed two factors, nature versus nurture, maturity versus learning. Hope it is understood or not.
Understood, madam.
Understood. Okay.
Understood, madam. Yeah.
Right. So far, Unit 2 is developmental psychology. Why do we discuss developmental psychology in educational psychology? Because the ultimate goal of education is the development of the child, right? So because of that, developmental psychology as Unit 2. We have subtopics. First, we defined LSD, lifespan development, looking at key words. And then we looked at what is growth, what is development. And then we look at aspects of development. It's not only physical, it's not only cognitive, but social and emotional as well for the balanced personality development. Okay. And then we looked at what are the factors that affect the child's development. We discussed two major factors. There are others as well, but we discussed two major: nature versus nurture, if not heredity versus environment, and then maturation versus learning. So we can go to the next subtopic, the big topic, theories of lifespan development. What is it? Theories of lifespan development. Psychology is all about theories. So we will be having lots of theories to discuss. So in this unit, developmental psychology, I have chosen, or the syllabus prescribes, 5 theories of lifespan development. 5 theories of lifespan development. So today itself you learn the names of the theories, right? You have Piaget's theory of cognitive development. Jean Piaget, the psychologist, proposed this theory of cognitive development to discuss how the child's cognitive development happens. So this theory discussed the development of the cognition, that aspect of development. Okay. Then second one, psychosexual theory of Sigmund Freud. Sigmund Freud's psychosexual theory, right, is a theory of personality development. So we are going to discuss that as well. And then the third one, psychosocial theory of Erik Erikson. So Erik Erikson's psychosocial theory discusses how the child's personality develops through the social interaction. Very important, right? And then the fourth one, Bronfenbrenner's ecological model. It is not a stage model, it is actually an ecological model, the units that influence the child's development, right? Environment of the child, neighbors, cultures, religions, school, teachers, they are the environment of the child. The environment of the child has different levels and structures. So these levels, how they influence the child's development, we are going to discuss in Bronfenbrenner's ecological model. And then finally, the fifth one we have is Kohlberg's theory of moral development. So moral development is the ability to distinguish between right and wrong. That is also an aspect of development. What is good, what is bad, right? So how the child develops that morality or the ability to distinguish between right and wrong is actually discussed using Kohlberg's theory of moral development. But don't get don't misunderstand. These are not the only theories of lifespan development. There are ample of very many. If you take moral development, I have taken only Kohlberg to discuss moral development of the child, the ability to distinguish between right and wrong. Piaget also has a development theory, moral development theory, and there are other theories as well. But this is the prescription from the curriculum. These are the 5 theories that the curriculum proposes for you to actually know for the discussion, how to understand how this lifespan development happens. Is it clear to you?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I
Yes,
think we will start with Piaget's theory of cognitive development. I will not be able to finish it today itself, but we can do half of Piaget's theory today. But before that, it is 8:42. Till 8:50, we will take a small break. Is it needed, or I don't want? If you want, I can actually give you a 5-6 minute break and get you to listen from 8:50. What do you think? Is it necessary or it's not necessary? Athram, I'm the person go on talking. You all just listening, but if you want, I can give you 5 minutes. Please tell.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, can you not clear?
Okay,
It is
ma'am. We will
okay.
take.
We will take. Okay. We will make it 8:50 then. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. It's only 6 minutes then.
Excuse me, madam.
Yes.
Madam, can you share the PowerPoint presentation?
Yesterday I gave you the presentation.
Madam, when we are leaving the Zoom meeting, it's not downloaded, madam. It's not saved
Yes.
in the
Yeah.
device.
What about yesterday's one? Did I share it?
Yes, madam. That we got, madam.
Today's one also I will share. Okay. Don't worry.
We
Now I will do
couldn't
that.
download it.
Yeah, I will.
Madam, we couldn't download, madam, both the PowerPoint presentations.
Maybe that option is not available for you then.
Yes, madam, if you can share it in the WhatsApp group, it's better,
I'm
madam.
not actually in the WhatsApp group, no, darling.
No, they
Madam,
already
then
sent to the WhatsApp group. I think description box, you can find the all the videos and everything.
the video is
Description
there.
box.
I'm asking for the
Yeah.
PowerPoint
Anyway, I
presentation.
will actually send it to you through the coordinator. Then is it okay?
Fine, I
Yes,
think. Yeah.
madam, send it through the coordinator
Yeah. Now,
then.
if I put it into the chat today, you can't download, no?
No, madam,
Yes, madam.
no.
No, madam.
Yes, madam.
Then
We
no.
can.
Then no point. You can, no, you can't.
Yes, madam. No, we can, madam.
Then I will put and we'll see. Okay. Okay. I will give it a try then. Okay. I put yesterday's one also. See whether you can download. Anyway, I will be sharing all the materials through the coordinator as well. Okay.
Okay, madam.
Okay, I will share it with the coordinator guy, and don't worry. Okay. See whether you can download what I have sent, just to know.
Yes, madam, it's uploading.
And you need a very good connection, no? That's the thing for this uploading and downloading and all that.
Yes, madam.
Otherwise, they corrupt in the middle and collapse actually.
Madam, better you share with as to the coordinator as well, ma'am.
Okay,
Then
okay, I will
sometimes,
do that
yeah,
definitely.
yeah, ma'am. Because sometimes the connection is not good. We cannot download it, ma'am.
Yeah, I know. Anyway, it's my duty also to actually
Thank you
share
so
it to the
much, ma'am.
coordinator.
Yeah.
Yes. Now, those
Okay,
who are
thank
not
you so
here
much, ma'am.
today and all that also should have access. No? So, normally I share
Exactly, ma'am.
lecture materials through the coordinator.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
normally
Okay,
at the
ma'am.
end of the module only that I do so.
Ah, okay, ma'am.
Then all in one zip file, I put it into the coordinator. If you want it to be done regular basis, I will do that also. It's no problem. But then it will be a mess, no?
Yeah, ma'am. Yeah, exactly. Yes.
Yeah, I will put it at the end of the module. I will put everything into a zip file, session 1, session 2, like that in order and send.
That much better, ma'am. Yeah.
Mm, right.
Thank you so much,
Another
ma'am.
3 minutes to keep quiet and then we'll get back, okay?
Yeah.
Okay, now we are back. Okay, right. So now that is a nice comment from Samsun Nihara. Samsun Nihara, thank you for your comment. Okay. And now I'm going to share my PowerPoint presentation once again, and I will be discussing Piaget's theory of cognitive development with you. Piaget's theory of cognitive development. Okay. Uh, so here it is, and sharing it with you. And now, okay, right. Can you see developmental psychology PowerPoint once again? And here I have got Piaget's theory of cognitive development, the first theory, right, that we discuss in this module. Because psychology is all about theories and concepts, right? Psychologists, they conduct studies or research, and they actually repeat the studies that they do, and then they generalize their findings and formulate theories. Okay, so that is the beautiful part of psychology. And so psychology is full of theories then. So this is the first theory that we are discussing under the unit 2, that is developmental psychology. Uh, the first theory is Jean Piaget's theory of cognitive development. So Jean Piaget's theory of cognitive development discusses how cognitive development happens in the child. How cognitive development happens in the child. So what is meant by this cognitive development then? Cognitive development is one's ability to think and comprehend, one's ability to understand, right? One's ability to gain knowledge and retain that knowledge in the memory, store it in the memory, retrieve it, that knowledge stored in the memory, and solve problems, think logically, to become creative. Those are actually cognitive abilities of the child, right? So here, cognitive development means the child's ability to pay attention and receive information and store them in the memory, retrieve them when it is needed for application and solving problems, and then being creative and being original in their actually thinking and working. That is actually one's cognitive ability. But I'm not going to discuss it at length because unit 3 is the cognition, how it works, the cognitive process. Because as teachers, that is one of the most important aspect of development. Teachers should facilitate the acquiring knowledge, storing knowledge, retaining knowledge, retrieving knowledge, and applying them, and become creative, original, and critical in their thinking. So that is what is all about this education and learning and teaching. So cognitive development is very important aspect of development that we should discuss. So we, as the first theory, we discuss Piaget's theory of cognitive development, in which Piaget discusses how cognitive development happens in the child. That is their ability to think and understand. Okay? Got it?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Yeah.
Yes,
madam.
madam.
If you want to actually, you can see the picture of Piaget here. If you want to actually study Piaget's theory, you have to put Piaget's theory into 3 parts and discuss. How many parts? 3 parts.
3 parts.
3 parts.
What are these 3 parts that we are going to actually have when it comes to the discussion of Piaget's cognitive development theory? First one, underlying principles. Kada first එක underlying principle.
Principle.
So we are going to discuss 3 underlying principles. How many underlying principles?
3
Three.
underline.
3 underlying
Three
principles.
and
Once underlying principles are discussed, we have to discuss cognitive process. Cognitive process, that is thinking process, right? How we acquire knowledge, that process. Cognitive process. What Piaget has talked about cognitive process, we can discuss. And the third part is the stages of cognitive development. Here, according to Piaget, cognitive development happens in 4 significant stages. 4 significant stages. So we are going to discuss these 4 significant stages of cognitive development as said by Piaget. So that is how we are going to discuss Piaget's theory of cognitive development. So getting back once again, I tell you, in this unit 2, developmental psychology, we have 5 theories of lifespan development. The first theory that we discuss is Piaget's theory of cognitive development, in which Jean Piaget discusses how the child's cognitive development happens. Cognitive development is one's thinking, one's ability to pay attention, gain knowledge, store that knowledge in memory, retrieve them, solve problems, think logically and creatively and critically. That is cognitive ability. So how it develops is discussed by Piaget's theory of cognitive development. Actually, he proposed this theory in 1940s, and it is said that it's the first theory to discuss how cognitive development happens in a child. There are criticisms also about Piaget's theory because Piaget experimented initially only with his 3 children. So because of that, it was actually criticized a lot. But even today, what Piaget said about cognitive development is adopted in education systems. So it's not obsolete. It's still in practice, right? Right. So we are going to put Piaget's theory into 3 parts and discuss. The 3 parts are underlying principles, cognitive process, and stages of cognitive development. So we will first come to get into underlying principles of Piaget's theory of cognitive development. Are you making notes while listening?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah,
Yes,
otherwise difficult, right? As I always tell you, psychology is not something that you can just beat about the bush. Yantang, you know 1 or 2 words and come and then just write elaborating on that. No, you have to know the terminology, you have to know it. Then only that you can write. Okay, right. So, but interesting for the teachers, it's the most important subject, and it is self-help also because we can understand our own mind and our behaviors, right? We can define them. So very important area that you're doing. So though it is actually a bit kind of challenging for you because you have to study. Study karanavan and no challenge at all. Okay. Now we will look at the first component. The 3 underlying principles. The first component, the 3 underlying principles. Now I'm actually talking to you about Piaget's part 1, component 1, 3 underlying principles. First underlying principle. Okay, first underlying principle. Cognitive development is age related. You can take down. Cognitive development is age related. What does it mean by cognitive development is age related? Piaget says readiness come to you, right? Readiness, mental readiness come to you with age. That is why as soon as a child is born, the child can't talk, right? The child doesn't know the language because the child is not ready yet. So, first underlying principle, cognitive development is age related. Okay. Now a young child who is still in the Montessori cannot think logically, cannot understand the concepts like reversibility, concepts like seriation and all that, because they they are not ready yet, because cognitive development is age related. Okay, that is the first underlying principle. Second underlying principle, cognitive development takes place in stages. Cognitive development stage takes place in stages, right? There are stages that significant cognitive developments take place at significant stages. So because of that, according to Piaget, cognitive development happens in stages, very significant stages. What is the third underlying principle then? Age may vary. Age may vary. VARY. Age may differ. Age may vary. Never the sequence. Age may vary. Never the sequence. What does it mean by that? Can have an educated guess there? Any one of you? An educated guess? Age may vary, but never the sequence. Can you have an educated guess, please? What does it mean? Are you listening? Hello? Silent
Yeah.
killer.
Yes, miss.
Uh-uh. Are you talking to me? You're not very clear then. Can you hear me very well?
Yes, yes, madam, we can hear.
Right. This is what it means. Age may vary, but never the sequence. Now you know factors affecting lifespan development: nature, nurture, maturity, learning, and all that. Due to various factors that affect development, the specified age of cognitive development by Piaget can differ or vary from person to person, from individual to individual, right? Now, for example, if Piaget says the child's ability of object permanence, it's a cognitive ability. We are going to discuss them. It happens in by the age of 2. In some, it can be by the end of the first year. It can, for some mentally retarded child, may take 10 years to develop that ability. Though Piaget says average child will achieve it by 18 months or 2 years. If the child is born with high IQ, maybe he actually masters it by the first year. If the child is actually mentally retarded with a very low IQ, he or she will take 10 years. So age may vary depending on the factors affecting child's development, but never that the sequence of stages. What is the first stage? What is the second stage? What is the third stage? What is the fourth stage? In order, those sequences will never change. That means each and every child has to first get into the first stage, master the cognitive development of the first stage, and then move on to the second stage, master the cognitive abilities of the second stage, and move on to the third and master the abilities. No child can skip from 1 to 3, 2 to 4, because sequence is fixed. But age may vary, though the average will accomplish it by this age. There can be reasons, and they will accomplish it before the prescribed age, or they will take longer period to actually achieve that. depending on the factors that influence one's development. But though the age may vary, never the sequence. No child can jump from first stage and the developmental tasks to the third one without moving on to the second like that. It has to be in the fixed sequence and order. That is the third underlying principle. Is it clear or it's not clear? I want your feedback.
Clear, ma'am. Got it.
Yeah. Others?
Yes,
Yeah,
madam,
ma'am.
it's clear.
Okay, ma'am.
Yes,
Okay,
good,
okay,
good,
ma'am. Okay,
good,
okay.
good. Right. So that is the first part of Piaget we discussed. That is underlying principles. Okay. Now the second part of Piaget's theory we are going to discuss. That is the cognitive process. That is the cognitive process. Cognitive process means how this cognitive development happens, how this acquiring knowledge and understanding happens in the child. That is termed as cognitive process. How this understanding of something, their ability to actually put two and two together and apply it and do something, they actually happen. The process of cognitive development, as said by Piaget, we are going to discuss. To discuss the cognitive process discussed by Piaget, okay, we need to look at these four key terms you see on the slide. What are the four key terms you see on the slide, please? Schemata,
Schema, assimilation, accommodation, and integration.
and equilibration. You have to actually know these four key terms and what they mean, and then only that you can discuss the cognitive process, the development of cognition of the child, how it happens. I repeat the keywords: schema or schemata, assimilation, accommodation, and equilibration. So let me explain it, and I will show you a small video as well. Schemata. So don't think of any other meanings here. This is actually they are coined by Piaget for the purpose of formulating this theory. So they have specific meaning here. Schema or schemata in this theory means building blocks of knowledge. What is it? Schemata, building blocks of knowledge. Right? Now I will tell you. Example. These are not actually some physical and concrete, okay? Now, each one of you have lots of schematas in you, lots of them, thousands, millions of them, sometimes thousands of them. Now, for example, how to make a dal curry. It is a schemata, building blocks of knowledge that I have. How to drive, how to ride a bicycle. They are schematas you are having, right? How to log into the Zoom and connect and join the lecture. It's a schemata you have. Okay? So they are building blocks of knowledge related to different things. So we might be having hundreds of them, thousands of them in us. Right? They are schematas, building blocks of knowledge. They are never static. They are never static. Static කියලා කියන්නේ එක වගේ නෑ. They undergo changes. Then only the development, cognitive development happens. Ne? If it is cognitive development, these schematas cannot remain the same. They cannot be static. They have to change. Right? They have to change. So this change happens in two overlapping processes. This change of schemata, development of cognition, that happens through two overlapping processes called assimilation and accommodation. Assimilation and accommodation. Now, before coming to this assimilation and accommodation, I get back to schematas and ask you, now, a newly born child, when you are born, Did you have any schematas? When you were born, did you have any schematas?
No.
Others?
No, madam.
No, we have. Though not very many, no, though not thousands of them as we have now. We could cry, we could swallow. Am I right? We could root the nipple of mother's nipple and suck milk. When in pain, when the bed is wet, when you wet the bed and all that, you could actually put your legs and arms up. Moro reflex. Didn't you have these abilities?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
They are some schematas. You're born with some schematas, we call them reflexes. Moro reflex, throwing hands and legs upward in pain. Swallowing reflex, rooting reflex. You can root the mother's nipple. Crying. As soon as you're born, you cry, eh? So there are some reflexes. There are some schematas you're born with, right? But we develop very many schematas, and these schematas, they don't remain the same. They are not static. They develop, they undergo change. Then how do they develop and undergo change? Through two overlapping processes. Overlapping means at the same time both can happen, right? What are these two overlapping processes? Assimilation and accommodation. Assimilation and accommodation. What is assimilation? You have to think like this. Now you have the existing schemata. Existing building block of knowledge is there. Then you confront new knowledge. Existing schemata and new knowledge, right? Now assimilation. Existing knowledge helps you to understand new knowledge. It is assimilation. I will give an example, don't worry. Existing schemata, the building blocks of knowledge, helps you in understanding new knowledge. It is assimilation. Now, accommodation, you have the existing knowledge and the new knowledge to be accommodated. Existing knowledge does not 100% tally with the new knowledge. So you have to actually do away or shed some existing knowledge to accommodate new knowledge. To accommodate new knowledge. And in expanding schematas, development of cognition happens through these both the processes happening at the same time. That is why we call them overlapping processes here. Okay, assimilation and accommodation. Now I will give you an example, then you will understand it better, right? Now it's from the psychology books, not my own example. Now there is a child born, a newborn child, very young, a few weeks, maybe months. The child is exposed, the concept of the schemata of dog, right? The child has seen only this dog at home. It's a Pomeranian, white in color, small in size, full of fur, and it barks, it has 4 legs, it has a tail and 2 eyes and all that. So the schemata of dogs is, child thinks, all dogs are small in size, all dogs are white, all dogs have fur in their body, all dogs bark, all dogs have 4 legs, all dogs have 2 ears and a tail, like that.
Ma'am,
Yeah.
your voice not clear, ma'am.
Okay. Let me see. Right. Is it fixed now? Better?
Yes,
No,
ma'am.
madam.
No?
No, madam,
clear,
still the same.
Ho, 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 ho. Now? Now okay, no?
Yes, madam.
Yes, ma'am.
Right. So then the child thinks all dogs are white in color, all dogs are small, all dogs have fur, all dogs bark, all dogs have 2 ears, all dogs have 4 legs and a tail and all that. So the next door people, they also actually brought a pet dog, and it's also a Pomeranian, but it's brown in color. Now the child's schemata of dogs. The child knows dogs bark. This dog also barks. Dogs have 4 legs and 2 ears and a tail. This dog also has two, same. But the child thought all dogs are white in color, but this Pomeranian is brown in color. So the assimilation and accommodation both happen. The child assimilates the existing knowledge with the new knowledge and understand that it's a dog. But the child has to accommodate the new knowledge. All dogs are not white. There can be brown dogs also, right? So the schemata changes, development happens. Okay. And then the child is taken to the park by the grandfather. Grandpa takes the child to the park. On their way, the child sees a bulldog. Now the child understands that it's a dog. Why? It barks. It has 4 legs, tail, and the 2 ears. Right? And but child assimilation is there because using existing knowledge, the child could understand that this is a dog. But the child has to actually change the existing knowledge. This is black in color. So all dogs are not white and brown only. There can be black dogs as well. All dogs are not small in size. There can be big ones also. All dogs don't have fur because this is a bulldog. Bulldogs don't have fur. Right? It's a math. So this is the overlapping process of assimilation and accommodation. Got it?
Yes, madam.
Yeah. That is how our cognitive development happens. The existing schematas expands, right? Through the overlapping processes of assimilation and accommodation, right? And now, suppose now you have a schemata of making a dal curry. When you first started as a very young girl, maybe that you knew the basics of making a dal curry. But now you go to YouTube and all that, and then you know this Indian dal curries and all that. So it's not the same dal curry that you make today. That is how, through the assimilation and accommodation, your schemata expands. Then I will get you the last term, keyword, equilibration or equilibrium in some books. That is, Piaget says, now you have existing schematas, okay? Then you will confront new knowledge every now and then. So when you confront new knowledge, you have to expand your schemata through assimilation and accommodation. Until now, when you actually confront new knowledge, your mental status is in a state of disequilibration. Once you actually understand it and change the schemata through assimilation and accommodation, your mental status get back to the equilibration. That is how cognitive development happens. That is what happens when you actually teach also. The students know something, you give them new knowledge, then they are in a state of disequilibrium, then they will try to actually understand it and accommodate it through assimilation and accommodation. And once it is done, once again you are in a state of equilibration, then again new knowledge is confronted, then disequilibrium, assimilation and accommodation, you are back in the state of equilibration. That is how Piaget discusses this cognitive process. I will actually show you. Uh, Give me a second. Okay. Because I'm looking for a very nice video. Give me a second, right? All right, this is the one. It's there.
Hello. To share with you an illustration of the concepts that Piaget put forth of assimilation, accommodation, and schema. I'm at the Piaget stages of cognitive development put forth by the Department of Educational Psychology and Instructional Technology at the University of Georgia.
Can you hear the
See the video.
A schema represents one's
Can
understeps
you
that
hear the
Piaget
computer
put
sound?
forth of
Yes,
Could you?
madam.
All right. Watch this, okay? It's very interesting.
assimilation, accommodation, and schema. I'm at the Piaget stages of cognitive development put forth by the Department of Educational Psychology and Instructional Technology at the University of Georgia. A schema represents one's understanding of how something works or what something is. So here we have an initial schema. Child begins to develop an understanding of what a dog is from a picture book. And the parent reads, and this is what a dog looks like. Then the schema is forming. The child experiences disequilibrium. The child is actively constructing a schema about dogs. The child assimilates information and returns to a state of equilibrium. The child's thinking dog, ears, 4 legs, tail. The assimilation process continues. The child expands understanding of what a dog is by observing one at a park. The child checks, yes, the dog has ears, 4 legs, and a tail. This animal must be a dog. Then the animal barks. The child experiences disequilibrium. The child's schema about dogs does not include barking. Then, in petting the animal, the child notes that it's furry. The assimilation process is continuing. The child experiences disequilibrium. The child's schema about dogs does not include fur. Then, the child's licked by the dog. The child again experiences disequilibrium. The child's schema about dogs does not include licking. So as part of this assimilation process, the child is in an experience of disequilibrium. Here's this animal that barks, is furry, and licks. Is it actually a dog or not? It does have the ears, the 4 legs, and a tail. So the child confers with the parent and says, dog. So while the child is in a state of disequilibrium, he or she is actively constructing meaning. He or she is building an internal schema or adding information to the existing schema. The child seeks reinforcement from the parent. The parent responds, dog. So the parent affirms and reinforces the new information. Assimilation is occurring. The disequilibrium resolves. The schema is organized to incorporate that new information. So, to the characteristics of 4 legs, ears, and tail, the child adds barks, furry, and licks. And so assimilation has occurred and the child has returned to a state of equilibrium. Now we have accommodation. So now the child sees a cat in the park. A new schema must be formed to acknowledge that this is a different animal, even though it has some of the same traits as a dog. So the child sees this animal walking around, goes down the checklist, 4 legs, ears, tails, hasn't heard hasn't heard any barking, appears to be furry, hasn't licked. This animal goes meow. Now we're in a state of disequilibrium.
Okay.
The animal is furry. The animal does lick, but it meows. Now, this animal is climbing up a tree. So the child is in disequilibrium and is actively constructing meaning. He or she asks the parent to assist this disequilibrium. Dog? No, replies the parent. Cat. So the child is in a state of disequilibrium. The parent provides feedback and reinforces this is a cat. So now the child, as process of accommodation, creates a new schema. So the child is in disequilibrium. He or she is actively constructing meaning. And this new schema says cat, 4 legs, ears, tail, meows, furry, licks, and climbs. Accommodation has occurred. The child returns to a state of equilibrium. A schema about cats has formed. All right, so hopefully.
So now you could see the same thing explained once again, right? So this is how the schematas expand. Cognitive development happens. So this happens every now and then in your classrooms, right? You're facilitating it. Existing schematas and new knowledge is confronted. They go through the processes of assimilation and accommodation, right? And cognitive development and understanding happens. Okay then?
Yes, madam, it's
Yeah.
clear.
Now the third
Yes, ma'am.
component. The third component is stages of cognitive development, the 4 stages of cognitive development set by Piaget. We are not going to discuss it today. We will be discussing it tomorrow because tomorrow also you have a lecture with me. And once I finish Piaget's theory of cognitive development, I will give you a question bank, short answer questions. You can try it on your own, right? And see whether you can answer them. Tomorrow I'll be giving you that as well. And the summary of today is I started with educational psychology definition. And scope of educational psychology, we are not going to discuss today. It's the last day. Then we move to the unit 2. Unit 2 is developmental psychology because education facilitates the development of the child. So then we discuss subtopics, lifespan development definition, the keywords. And then growth and development, we compare the two. We learn that development goes beyond just growth. And then the third one, factors affect aspects of development, like physical, cognitive, social, and emotional. Then factors affecting lifespan development, nature versus nurture, and then maturity versus learning. And then we actually look at theories of lifespan development, and we started with Piaget's theory of cognitive development. Under Piaget's theory of cognitive development, we discussed the 3 underlying principles and the cognitive processes referring to schemata, assimilation, accommodation, and equilibration. So the rest will be done next day. So I'm in a hurry to stop today. So thank you very much for joining and very good night. Okay.
Thank you, madam.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
madam.
you, ma'am.
See you tomorrow, dear.
Thank you, madam. Good
Good night,
night. See you
ma'am.
tomorrow. Bye.
Thank you.